Hey, g'day big bikers. Well, I'm sitting in the car, absolutely pouring rain. Actually, I'm going to keep driving because I need to keep moving. Got a whole heap of stuff happening at home, so I had to get out. And I can't go riding because look at the weather. It's just atrocious. Anyway, I was watching Dave Darcy the other day on YouTube. I was watching him talking about his 701 and I went, hang on, I think I've got a 701 in the shed. And I'm like, you're kidding. And I went downstairs and guess what? There's a 701 in my garage. And I realised, actually went back through the last time I put fuel in, that doesn't mean the last time I rode it, but the last time I put fuel in that bike was July 23. Because I keep records just for servicing and maintenance and all that sort of stuff. So July 23 was the last time that I put fuel in the 701, but I wouldn't have ridden it since, certainly haven't ridden it since I broke my hand and had that accident. So that was October last year, so it's at least 6 months since I've been out on the 701. So I said, right, you, me, we're going for a ride. And I just took it out. I was going to go do some dirt up around Kilcoy and Bellbrook and up in there. But when I got there, it was rain, and clouds were heavy, and it was like, I'm not going up into the rainforest, which the tracks are pretty wet most of the time anyway, because it's in a really thick canopy, and it was actually raining, and it was, those tracks up there are clay and yuck and mud and horrible, and I just went, yeah, no, I don't want to be slipping over. I was by myself. So it's looking pretty wet up there, and the track I want to take basically going to take me up into what essentially is going to be a very wet, muddy track. So one of the things that I really like about that bike is how versatile it is. Now the 701, I got it so I could actually take it out to the desert on the back of the Land Cruiser, and I could actually take it out to the desert and ride a few tracks that I wouldn't normally do on a big bike, particularly fully loaded, a big heavy bike, fully loaded with all my camping gear, which is generally how I go out there. So my plan is to head out there with Miss Buttons out to the desert, and 701 on the rack, go out to the desert, ride those tracks, and Miss Buttons can drive the Land Cruiser. It's kind of a support vehicle, so I can do the bike trip with a really, really light bike. So that's kind of the plan with the 701. But when I was out on it the other day, I had to, obviously got to ride the freeway, as I always do when I leave my place, got to ride some freeway. All of the dirt, all of the really juicy stuff is about an hour and a half from my place. So bit of freeway, some B roads, and then you get onto the back roads, and then you get into the dirt. And it is so capable. 120, 110, 120 kilometers an hour on the freeway, no problem at all. It's just a terrific little bike to ride. It's a bit of a hoon machine. It'll do the twisties. You can actually go through some of the twisties really well. Back roads, dirt roads, all of that, not a problem at all. So I really like the suspension on the bike. I like the way it responds. I didn't have a big load on it, and I don't intend to have a big load on that bike. I'm only ever just going to carry some tools, and water really is all I'm going to be carrying on that one. And I've done trips on it, but I don't have racks on it, and I've got some just throw over bags. I can put it on if I need to, but really, really enjoy riding that bike. It's a great bike. So I've got a 701. I literally have not ridden that bike since before I had the crash and busted up my hand, because after that happened, all my focus and all my energy was obviously on getting better. I couldn't ride anyway. I couldn't ride any of the bikes that I've got, and I couldn't yeah, and the focus was on getting the 901. So the 901, really, since that's been, you know, in the garage, has been the bike that I've been riding. It's new. I haven't even been out on the 1200 for a while. And, you know, now that I've got the scooter, just all zipping around town, which I used to do on the 701. I used to zip around all the time on the 701 because it's a great little motard thing to ride around. But I really love the 701. It's such a great bike. I've got it really well set up for the trip I'm going to do. I've got the Britannia Composites cowl on the front, which gives me plenty of real estate around for power supply and GPS mounts and you know, the heated grips, all that stuff that normally clutters up the handlebars. That's all now up in front of me, which is really cool. I've got different foot pegs on it. I've got some foot peg, or they're actually frame protectors, but they double as mount points for the bags. I've just put a billet fuel cap on it. You got to do that because the way the factory fuel cap is, when you take that off, all the dirt that's around that just falls in, so it's terrible. So at least with the billet one, you screw the cap off and it's got, you know, high-sided fuel filler. So and the other one is too, the key can get quite a bit tight, so if you know, you can bend or weaken the key in the fuel cap rather than just using it for an ignition switch. You know, it's set up, it's got everything it needs. Now it's got a little parent rack on the back. It's got everything it needs to do the trip that I want to do, and we'll try and do that this year, hopefully when the weather's improved and cooled down a bit and it's the right time to go out to the desert. So that's it. I've got a 701. I'd completely forgotten about it. Like I said, I was check the records that I've got, because I, you know, track all the fuel and track the kilometers and maintenance and everything, and tires, and July last year was the last time I'd put fuel in that bike. So I haven't ridden that for a long time. I put the key in, turned it on, waited for the fuel injectors to prime, hit the button, and boom, off it went. You know, it was almost Honda-ish the way that it started. So I was very, very happy with that. It's a great bike to ride, so good. I'm really, really impressed with that 701. All right, over and out.